Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Circuit Cast. We have another episode in our ongoing hospitality series. I'm really excited with my guest today. Today is Vy Wynn. Vy is an Atlanta based entrepreneur. She's a creative leader and a founder. She's been shaping culture through design, hospitality, and business innovation. She co founded and currently runs Who Wanna Pho, a Vietnamese cuisine and lounge concept blending authentic flavor and international community experiences. V left a corporate graphic design career to build her own branding agency and has since grown multiple ventures that connect people through creativity, food, and culture. She's a visionary with over 100,000 followers across social platforms. She's passionate about bold thinking, community impact, and building experiences that bring people together. V, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, John, for having me.
It's a very bold intro. It sounds like a lot of really exciting stuff has gone on. I think I'm pretty interested in hearing a little bit about, really what led up to Who Wanna Pho. I mean, it's kind of a
Yeah,
unique experience and an environment in Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about your story.
absolutely. No, that was a very bold intro, that's for sure. And I'd say I live a bold life. That's how you live an exciting life. So, yes, with Who Wanna Pho, it definitely was a journey. And it was something that I believe was predestined because, kind of in hindsight, just like everything in life, I feel like in hindsight, you kind of put the pieces together and it just the alignment is just so beautiful and so perfect. And like your intro, like you said, I did left the corporate world. My passion and my dream job of being a graphic designer. My background is a creative. I've been a graphic designer for the past, let's see, 25 plus years and still going strong. But back in 2020, when COVID hit, it was just shock everybody and kind of that's when things started changing and my end because I had already left corporate in 2018 and starting my branding agency. And my uncle, who has about seven of his own restaurants, was going through a crisis. He called me up and was needing my help. So at that time, I didn't have any major projects going on. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to go over there and help you out. And helping him out led to like 2 years of helping him out in a front house operation, back of the house, just kind of helping him run the business. And by year two, I was like, okay, now I was asking myself, I said, okay, what is going on? Because this is not why I had left corporate and my dream job of to do this, right? And because while I was helping him, it was just so much. The restaurant industry it takes a big toll on you, especially when you're operating on the back end and not just there as a server, right? And so, but in my case, I was a server, I was management, I was basically everything, right? And the travel distance was a lot too. It was about 2 hours a day, right? And so that's why it was just taking a toll by year 2. And, so then I started asking myself and just taking it into prayer. And then I kinda paused on it. I said, "Okay, Unc, this is my goodbye. I'm going to figure out and get back into my creative mode," right? And one thing led to another, and, by 2022 yes, by 2022, I then had met this wonderful gentleman, and we instantly had a great connection, and I introduced him to pho. I said, "Have you ever had pho before?" He's never had it before. So then I took him to my uncle's restaurant and introduced him to pho. And at first, he didn't really he pronounced it as pho, and I didn't correct him in the beginning, right? And then it was about the second time that I took him to another spot that's called Pho King. right? And Pho King has been around for quite some time. And by that time, he kept saying pho, like, oh, I'm gonna eat some pho. And I looked over, I said, sweetie, do you know that it's pronounced pho and not pho? So where are we at right now? We're at, and he was like, fuck, fucking? My God, no way. And so he was just so shocked that he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it was pronounced pho and we're going to a place that's called fucking. I said, I know, right? Isn't that crazy? And so later on, he got online and was like, "Yeah, guess where I'm at? I'm at fucking." And then he just couldn't. He was just so in love with that. Like he just couldn't believe it was so. And this gentleman is also very in the creative background, in the marketing, branding genius as well. Right. And so later on that the evening, we were still going at it. Like he was still shocked by it. And then I was like, and then that's when I said, "Oh, yeah, there's plenty of them. And actually, there's another one called Who Wanna Pho." And he said, "There's a Who Wanna Pho?" I said, "Yeah, hold on, let me look it up real quick." When I looked it up, of course it wasn't there because it wasn't there yet. But the place that I was thinking was called What the Pho. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's not called Who Wanna Pho. It's called What the Pho, right? And that was in Duluth area. And he said, "Oh, okay, wow." So I started naming all these other pho restaurants with the pun intended, right? And then boom. Moments later he said, "Oh, okay. But that Who Wanna Pho is is crazy." I said, "Yeah, actually it is." And at that time, we were already talking about opening a business together. And he does have a passion for cooking, and so he was kinda going through these other ideas of if we had a restaurant, what would it be called and what would it be and things like that. And so when we talked about Who Wanna Pho that night, we already talked about the structure, our ideas of what we wanted to do. Then we thought of all the names that we want to go by. And so we came up with the whole shebang that night, right? And even that night, we went ahead and registered and grabbed the domain whowannapho.com, right? And that was it. We didn't, think too much of it. We didn't have a game plan in terms of, looking to anything. It was just an idea that we wanted to just sit there because we know it's gold. And kid you not, about 2 weeks later, his commercial real estate agent called him out of the blue because we haven't spoke to her in a long time. So she called us out of the blue and was like, "Hey Terry, I've got this spot that is a turnkey opportunity and I think you would be, a great fit for it. I know you've been working very hard on wanting to do something and this is a really great opportunity." And we both just looked at each other and was like, "What? Like what are the odds, bro?" Because here we are already had this whole list of things that we want, a whole thing of what we wanted to do. And then, of course, we went to go check out the space and we just loved it. We loved it so much. And that's when I called up my uncle. I said, "My God, uncle, I think I have an opportunity that I think we might possibly want to make it into a pho restaurant." Because even when the commercial real estate representative had introduced it to us, at that time, we still, of course, didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he wanted this one, that one, or that one, right? And then he decided, okay, I think we're going to go with pho, right? I'm like, okay, let's go with pho. And that's when I called to my uncle and told him that about the opportunity. And the rest is history.
But
Met him in 2022 April. In September 2022 was when the whole pho introduction happened. And October um 2022 was when we got the keys to the building.
Wow. Wow.
The story, every single time, John, I tell this story, I kid you not, I am always so shocked and amazed by the timeline of how it all went down. And that's why sometimes I can't even get myself or ourselves the credit for it.
Well, as you say though, be bold, right? And,
I love that.
yeah,
Absolutely. You got to be bold.
you see the opportunity and then just be bold and make it happen. So you get the keys, and was this really a turnkey? How much work did you end up having to do?
Good question. A very good question. It truly wasn't all the way a turnkey opportunity when, when we then got the keys and looked inside, there was a lot of work to do, and we did a lot of cleaning up from the inside out, even with the naming and the reputation that that building had, with previous owners, etcetera, and so, we went through a lot of hoops and things like that to get the neighborhood approved, but we did, and, yes, now it's just a 360, and the beautiful thing is that, the desire of my heart in terms of my creativity, you know, God had already thought that in mind for me. Like, well, yeah, okay, don't worry. And you know what? Don't worry about your branding and your creativity because I already have a plan for that as well. Right. And now Who Wanna Pho, Golden V Designs and Company, which is my branding agency, is responsible for everything that we see now. From the menu design, website design, from the interior design, the name, the logo design, all of that has just my love poured into it too. So I think just that is so incredible. And then, and also again, the whole play is God had put me with my uncle, right, for that 2 years, and now I could say that was my training ground. That was me being on the floor, getting hands-on training from my uncle is known as one of the goats out here, and, so for me to open up a different Vietnamese concept, it's not just, "Oh, yeah, we're cute. Let's go ahead and open up a cute little Vietnamese restaurant and make it into a lounge." It's not like that at all. It's our pho is family recipe of 25 plus years, right? And I'm very proud of our products. Um, so yes, all of that just kind of like, oh, how amazing. And I'm so grateful.
So, V, let me ask you, I mean, probably there's people watching this who have not had pho, who don't know what it is. Uh, Maybe you can take a moment to talk a little bit about what pho is and
Yes.
how it came about and how it's part of Vietnamese culture.
Yes, absolutely. Pho is a Vietnamese beef noodle soup. It is one of the most healthiest foods in the world to consume and to enjoy because our broth takes about anywhere from 18, some places takes up to 24 hours just to make. And it's made with bone broth. So you're getting all this nutrients. A lot of people who even have some illness, bone broth is a big part of their diet. It provides a high protein, minerals, vitamins, all of that good stuff. And it's garnished with the rice noodles, which is gluten free, and with our garnishes, some protein that you can add to it. Very delicious, very clean, very light, very fulfilling. So that is what pho is. And pho plays actually a very big part in our culture. And the reason why it's one of the main dishes is because pho actually fed the soldier back in the day, back in the war and all that. So pho comes from a long line of history, right? And so that's why I'm so proud to be serving pho.
For me, one of the things that is special about pho is really the presentation experience and the eating. It's not like most other meals, right? So maybe talk a little bit about that and how you do that at Who Wanna Pho.
Yes, no, very good. With pho specifically, so this is what I kind of say about Who Wanna Pho. Who Wanna Pho is very business centric, right? And we broke away from the Vietnamese tradition and brought in a new concept. And so Who Wanna Pho specifically is what we call the first in the world. A Vietnamese cuisine blend with the lounge concept, right? And while I was with my uncle, one of the main things that I noticed was that every single table that I would bus, it would be full of the toppings that comes inside the bowl, right? Every table full of it. Customer gone. Or it's just a little bit that they use, right? But here I am, take it all in the trash. And I'm like, every time, I'm like, ouch, these are so good and, expensive, but healthy, but here we are having to throw it away, right? So at Who Wanna Pho, all of our toppings actually goes inside the bowl because here I am not about to waste my, the food costs, right? For one. But when I did that, when I have added to inside the bowl, it actually adds a whole nother layer of flavor to the pho experience, right? And then when it comes out and the bowl is already all garnished and all beautiful, all colorful, all nice, it's just like yay, and just ready to eat.
So you mentioned it's pho and a lounge experience. Maybe describe that a little bit more. Some people might have trouble imagining what that seems like.
Yeah, no, very good because a lot of people when they walk into Who Wanna Pho, they're like, is this a pho restaurant? Like, where am I? Like, they judge off the bat. They got hookah? What is that? You know what I'm saying? And I love that reaction because when they actually have the bowl of pho, they're like, okay, wow, actually really good. And I absolutely love it when I have my fellow people, Vietnamese people, come in and try it out. And I love when Vietnamese people come in. I don't get them often because we're in the city, right? But when I do get them and when whether they're traveling from out of state or wherever they from, and they try the pho and they try the food and they compliment it, I'm like, oh yes. Like that's like a stamp on the thing, like, yes, I got it. I did it. We did it, right? But so everyone at first gets shocked and, by the decor and the atmosphere, the aesthetic of it. So that's where we are different. And I mentioned the hookah, right? So we do have the hookah part, and that's where we wanted to add a social element to our concept, right? Of a Vietnamese cuisine and lounge because we wanted for people to have have a space to enjoy and not just enjoy fun and eat and go. We want them to enjoy and have a social element to it. And that's where the hookah came in because, and we're so proud to say we're born in Atlanta. We're right here in the city in the heart of Atlanta, right? And it's such an Atlanta thing. Like, hookah is such an Atlanta thing. I just had a customer this week that was visiting from California, and when they saw our menu and the names to it and everything that we have, right? They're like, "Wow, yeah, it is such an Atlanta thing," and I'm so proud to say it, and I was so proud to hear that. I'm like, "Yes, you're right."
So let's talk about that. You mentioned that you're downtown. Whereabouts are you located?
We're right in what we call the Midtown. So we're about 9 to 10 minutes from downtown Atlanta, the city, yes.
What's the address?
Okay, the address is 1126 Euclid Ave, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia.
Great. Thank you. So if
Yeah.
people want to find you now, they can plug it into their GPS and make their way there, right?
Yes, y'all come on through. And also we're a late night spot as well. From Monday through Thursday, we are open from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then Friday and Saturday, we are open from 2 p.m. to 5 a.m. And then on Sunday from 12 to 12. And at first, when we opened earlier, but then we kind of saw the trend and what this area is kind of more into, and they're more into the evening nightlife. And so we adjusted accordingly. So that's why now we're late night spa. And it's so wonderful because everyone now, and especially of the location where we're at, we're right in the heart of the city, people, concerts, events, clubbing. After 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever, we have an option of a good, healthy kind of revive you back and enjoy more good, delicious food versus just the McDonald's or cookout.
McDonald's, yeah. It's quite a it's a preferred option, I would think. So, okay, so you mentioned, what is no doubt and anybody who's ever really been in the restaurant business knows is the amount of work that it goes into running, a restaurant. And you're not just running a restaurant, but you're running a restaurant slash lounge.
Yes.
And you're running it in, pretty extended hours. So tell us a little bit about, you know, what that's like. It's your own place now, not your uncle's, but,
Right.
it's, yeah, so tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, having other businesses before was just in the creative space, right? I
Right.
This is my first brick and mortar with managing um an actual staff, and of course that's one element of running a business of a restaurant.
Yeah.
um Front house, back house, and then you got the second element of customer. And so there are a lot of moving parts into, and of course, the business side, the back end. And so there are just so many moving parts, so happening so fast, so quickly. And it's just like, that's why I'm so thankful to have a partner and a co founder. I think that if there are any time to have a co founder, it is definitely in the restaurant space because boy, that is a lot of work. And so I'm very thankful to have my co-founder to offset the rest and share the responsibilities. But again, I'd say on the it's definitely learning curves, right? It's definitely a journey. And you also kind of like it helps you discover your character and your leadership style with your staff members and with your customers, right? And I found it just also beautiful. My direct with my customers, I absolutely love it. When I'm on the floor, I'm so passionate about it to where sometimes I kind of try to be what is that? Don't show my card, right? But because I'm so passionate about it, like, "You must be the owner or something." I'm like, "You know what? Shh, I am." But yeah, no, I love, love, love connecting with my customers. It's just so great because we're introducing pho to so many people that never had it before. And that's why I think that I absolutely love the concept because first, they're already intrigued. "Who want a pho? What the heck?" Like, I'm gonna go there just because of the name, you know? So, w so we grab them by that, and so when they actually have it for the first time and people even are so picky with, like, "No, I never try anything new," but their friends or, even myself sometimes convince them, and they're like, "Okay, wow," right? So I just love it because again, like pho is it's so good and healthy to enjoy. Dealing with our staffing, that's where it tests your patience, it tests your character, it reveals, your leadership style and just all these things because you are dealing with them on a day-to-day basis and to me, they're the key. Oh my god, they are the key to the success of your restaurant. And that is period point blank. Especially if you want to scale, it's so important to invest in your team, right? So it's so important. And it is a juggling act for sure.
So, V, what does scale look like to you?
Well, John, I am actually in the middle of scaling, like at the beginning of the stage. And this is where I have always said the success of a team member is always the leadership. It is not really the staff members. If you don't put any parameters or any expectations, you can't expect from your staff members. They're just going to go, and especially in this industry, they're just going to do what they see fit and how they are with it. But until you put expectations and your goals and your vision and communicate with them and things like that, that's when they'll step up to the plate. But it takes a leader to communicate that to a visionary to see and where you want to go with this whole thing. What do we want from this? Is it just gonna be a mom and pop shop? Are we just gonna, a one time wonder and just gonna have this location? What are we doing? What is our vision? Where are we going? Right. And for me, John, I believe Who Wanna Pho is so special. It truly is a gold mine, right? Because again, we are going on year 3 in this April, we going on year 3. And already, again, the amount of love and the amount of great reaction and all of that good stuff, we haven't even tapped into our marketing. It really is a, what is that? Bootstrap. This is a bootstrap play. I don't have a VC firm that is investing $1 million into my business right now. So if any VCs out there, no, I'm just joking. I don't have that $1 million to pump into my business just yet, right?
Yeah.
But John, when I do, when it comes, the marketing piece around Who Wanna Pho is gonna blow it up. Period, point blank, because it has already. We just haven't had our first 2 years is focusing on building our foundation. And that is what scaling is for me, John. Is building that foundation, is building the structure. I'm not gonna be open up just because I want 10 location. I'm not gonna open up the 2, 3 locations in 1 or 2 years. I'm not gonna do that, John, because my foundation and my system is not set up yet. You see what I'm saying? And I
Sure.
don't yeah, because and then I don't want it to crash down because in 5, 10 years looking back, because I'm not in here for 5, 10 years, John. I'm in the long haul, baby. I'm in the long haul. I want this to be when I'm gone, is still thriving beautifully. You see what I'm saying?
So there is a vision though to have perhaps one day when the timing is right, additional
Yeah.
locations.
Yes, absolutely. And each location could be a little different, but absolutely the same
Is the idea to keep them in the, greater Atlanta area, or are you looking for, national domination, or what's the
Yes, yes. So the beautiful thing about Little Five Points is that our foot traffic is amazing. About 30% of our foot traffic is international travelers, even domestic travel, just nationally. We're always getting visitors all the time. And every one of them, wherever they're at, oh my God, Canada, you should have this in Canada. It will go crazy. Oh my God, you should have this in so and so. Anywhere, wherever they from, just even with my California folks, right? From LA. They're like, this will go stupid in LA or Miami, Florida. I hear it all the time. So here I am hearing directly from my customers what they want and they love it so much to where they would love to have it in their hometown, wherever that may be. And I agree. I agree. Absolutely. Let's dominate the world with Who Wanna Pho. Because everybody wanna pho.
So let's talk a little bit about, you talked about marketing and think about technology and how that plays the current technology, the changing landscape of technology and what it's doing to the way people market. How does that, sort of fit on this overlay?
Yes. With the technology space, which I absolutely love, social media, of course, is a big play into our day to day life. It plays such a huge, major role, and data is everything. I remember when I was with VMware and in the Silicon Valley, and I was surrounded by tech geeks all day, every day. And in the very beginning, way back in maybe 2010, 11, 12, around there, all I kept hearing constantly was data, data, data. big data, big data, big data, right? And at that time, I'm like, yes, 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 right? And now, kind of looking back, that's like what our world revolves around data. And that is now why we have the birth of artificial intelligence that is embedded and integrated into everything that we do now. And so now that I'm seeing, and it's such a new space to where, even Jeff Bezos mentioned that it's going to be so easy for everyone to be millionaires than it was in the dot-com era because of artificial intelligence, because it is so easy to do and everything create whatever it is because we're in this new, in the kind of beginning and middle phase of it, right? And so for hospitality space specifically, what I'm kind of seeing that they do is one of the things that I saw and I do want to integrate with our restaurant is the answering the phones, for example. Right? I think that's incredible. Actually, even before, even some small spaces, like there's this one drive through that's called, I think, Crystal. Crystal, they have a drive through um a drive-through automated order taking, right? And you could say however try trick him it up, right? And it will get the order right. I was so impressed. I say, wow, that is so amazing. What is that technology right there? Right. But yes, stuff like that, I think I find it very fascinating. I find it very awesome. And we have to pay attention to what is going on right now to, pick up and then you either innovate or you die. That is a slogan that has been around for ages. And for me, John, you innovate or you die, and so definitely we want to integrate all the things that makes sense to the business and that will help elevate and make the business better.
Terrific. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. We covered a lot of ground, and we had some fun with the puns around the word pho. And an amazing journey, really. You really, the bold, right? The boldness and seeing an
Yeah.
opportunity and being bold enough to capture it. And then, working through what is inevitably a very complex journey of getting a business established, establishing the foundation and putting the pieces in place to meet the vision that is this bigger, longer, larger vision, right? So it's been a pleasure to have you with us today. And I hope to check back with you and see how things are going. And the
Yes,
next time we talk, you'll be like, yes, I've got 4 restaurants and you wouldn't believe it.
absolutely. I would love that, John. And thank you so much for having me here today.
And just one more time, what was the address and what's the URL for your business?
Yes, absolutely. So the address is 1126 Euclid Ave. This EUCLID Ave, Atlanta, 30307. And our website is whowannapho.com.
That's great. You mentioned it's about 8 or 9 minutes from downtown. It looks like it's
Yes.
sort
And
of
you know what, John?
northeast, and you called it, what would you call it? The 5 Points area?
Yep, the Little Five Points area, Little Five Points.
Great.
Mhm.
That's terrific. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much,